What up?
Hello.
All right, so the title's very clear. It's like, peace out, goodbye. But I have to explain why. Okay. So,
Tell us.
well, okay, this is going to be long-winded, so just brace yourself. This is going to be, okay, how do you feel about, like, hippie Oprah talk, where I'm, like, reading the tea leaves, I'm making, I don't know, drawing conclusions from, like, vague stuff that I'm calling intuition. Do you want to hear a story like that or no?
When in doubt, go all out.
Is that all right? I feel like that's a no, but I don't know. Something about that just felt very like you weren't really like you're let me take a sip, sorry. Okay. So I'll explain why I'm quitting, but I would like to start with more the hippie bullshit of how I've came to this conclusion.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so months ago, I listened to this podcast, as all my stories start out with. Okay, so I listened to this podcast, and this woman was saying that her intuition was trash, right? Like, her ability to, she just couldn't hear her intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I feel like there's got to be a better word. I fucking hate that word. It just sounds so... Is there another word?
I think it's appropriate.
Okay, good. We'll just go with it. We'll quit judging.
Yeah.
Judge-free zone. So this woman is talking about what I just said. Her relationship with her intuition is very non-existent. And then she was giving examples on how everything she did, she would always ask people, like, what do you think, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want to dye my hair this color, or I want to dye my hair, what color should I do? Just like, she said that everything in her life she just had to get feedback because she essentially didn't have her own compass, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she says that, and I'm like, dude, that's totally me. That is 100% me. So I want to say she said in the podcast something about, and now she's like, some intuitive witch or some shit. And so she was saying, like, you can develop it, is essentially what she was saying. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to keep an open mind. I'm in a hippie zone. We'll keep an open mind. So I'm seeing some, some weaknesses in myself, like such as this intuition situation. Let's just keep that in mind. I don't know what to do about it, but let's just keep it in mind. Okay. So some more time goes by, and I'm listening to all this manifestation bullshit, and the manifestation lady mentioned in an interview or somewhere, just mentioned something about no energy. And she has a whole workshop on no energy. I haven't taken it. I'm about to talk about some shit I've never learned about, so I'm going to say it all wrong. Okay. But when I heard her say, like, reference no energy,
Mm-hmm.
like no, right? Like boundaries, essentially. That
Mm-hmm.
no, that strong no energy. I instantly had this flashback to this one time that it was like, I just, the wall of no was so fucking high. Like, it was like this instant, like, you've crossed the line, bitch. Like, never again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, dude, I completely forgot about that option. Like, in situations where there's...
I've gone there a few times.
Have you?
I kicked somebody out of my car.
What? Tell me this story.
He was really drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like...
Wait, was this like a good friend? Or just someone you hung out with a lot?
Somebody I knew for several years, but I wouldn't say he was like a really good friend.
Okay. So
I just kicked him out of the car because he was being too wild and like grabbing a steering wheel and shit, and so it was out.
Did you yell, or were you... Because you're such a quiet person. I mean, you
Yeah.
have a strong energy, but you're very quiet.
Yeah, I told him to get the fuck out.
Did he argue?
Well,
The look
I
of
would've-
satisfaction on your face, like you're like mentally patting yourself
I would
on
have
the
dragged
back.
him out if
Damn, dude, your no energy was not playing around. Like, it's like, not another second in this car, buddy.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. Okay. Well, okay, so my situation with the no energy was, I don't know, it was like, how long ago is that? It was like maybe 4 years ago. I think it was right around the time I first started doing videos. I don't remember. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe more. Okay, who cares? Moving along. And I had this friend that I loved so fucking much. Like, she's practically, I mean, in my heart, she was like my BFF, more or less. And I just loved her so much, and we hung out a lot, and we talked a lot, and we texted a lot, and I cannot express just how much I really loved this person. It was like every time I hung out with her, she would just have this way of talking that was just, she'd just draw all these conclusions that I would have never drawn. So I was just seeing the world so differently. And she was just making sense of things in ways that there's just no way I would have thought about that. It was just so, you know, like mentally stimulating. And so like, and she had like this, you know, like this emotional depth that is just, I don't know. I really fucking, and she's sarcastic as fuck, dude. I would laugh all the time. I don't know. And she's like a go-getter in life. So she's always learning shit. And she just dazzled me to no fucking end. And she also, okay, we're not, okay, I was like, okay, sorry. I'm not saying anything derogatory about this person I love. Or not derogatory, that's, okay, moving along. So, we'd been friends for years, and she did have kind of shady relationships with men, and we're not gonna talk trash. Everybody has fucking problems. I have problems, you have problems, who cares? She has problems. Wow, she's human. Moving forward with this story. So we're all okay, before we hang out, we're like, I get a text that's like, hey, do you want to go for a walk? And or maybe I text her, who knows? So we get together to go for this walk, and you're with me, right?
Okay. And
we get together, and she gets out of her vehicle, and we get out of ours, and I look at her, and I'm like, this bitch, dude, she is like, she's not wearing a bra, and she's wearing a see-through shirt. Like, this is unacceptable. Like, not unacceptable for her. This is unacceptable. You can't hang out with my fucking husband. Like no. The depths of no, I can't even explain. It's just no. You know what I mean? Like, no. Okay, we get it. But at the time, I was like, I don't know. I was like bending my brain in all these like pretzel moves. I was like of why it's okay when I'm like, this is not okay, right? I'm just like, you know, maybe she just like got dressed for the day and didn't look in the mirror, or who knows? Like, I was just trying to like, she's still a good person in my value system, right? And again, I can't stress how much I don't give a fuck if she dresses like that and it's me and her hanging out. Me, her, and the whole world hanging out. Fantastic. No problem here, friend. Dude, if my husband's there, get the fuck out, right? Dragging people out the car. So we ended up walking fucking 9 miles, dude. That was such a good walk. I don't know, it's my favorite fucking thing. So we hung out for hours doing this long ass walk. All is well, getting to know each other more. And then months later, it was like 6 months or a year later or some shit. Like, she's on the phone with me, and she has like this codependent boyfriend that's kind of like he wants some time away from her. He can't figure out like, oh, are we just together because of like sexy time? Like, he couldn't like, he was trying to distinguish like, and just to be, I hate saying it, I'm gonna say it, fucking judge me, this is my last video, you can fucking judge me. Okay, here we go. She was a bit sexually manipulative, okay? I hate saying it. I don't want to judge her. I fucking love her. But it's something I fucking noticed, right? Just some sort of like, okay, we're not going to explain it. If you don't get it or you don't agree, we'll just keep, who cares? So he was picking up on this sexual manipulation, and he was just kind of like, you know what? Maybe we need some time apart because I need to figure out if I really like you, because she's super codependent and very emotionally demanding. as we all are. And so he was just like taking time apart. Okay. I hate talking shit on people I love. It's just not.
You're framing the story.
Okay.
Go on.
Sorry. Permission granted. So she's telling me this over the phone, that they're hanging out and she hasn't seen him for a while, and she's trying to respect the boundaries even though she's very codependent, and it's extremely challenging to not want to be like, you know, ignore his boundaries and just demand attention, right? Mm-hmm. So she's respecting the boundaries, and she finally got the agreement that they can hang out. So she goes over and hangs out with him, and she's just telling me about them hanging out and how she's like trying to persuade him to, you know, to like, let's be together. Let's be in a relationship. Let's spend all of our fucking time together. And then, okay, so we're talking for hours on the phone, and at the very end of the conversation, she mentions, just in passing, okay, that after she left his place, she was at like 7-Eleven or some shit, and everybody was staring at her because she was essentially wearing like this white thin dress and nothing underneath, and she said like she said it. She fucking said it. She was like, you can see my butt crack. Like, she was just naming it was just like you could see everything. And side note, this is a person that always felt very offended by men. Like, ugh. It was like, oh, all right, okay. Okay, so she mentions that she's wearing some fucking see-through clothes in public. Some see-through clothing in public. And I just remember this feeling of like the past coming alive inside of me, and remembering that how she dressed when we were together, and that was intentional. And I feel like nobody could understand this, and I don't even give a fuck. Like, this is how I feel. I don't give a fuck how anybody else feels about this. The second it clicked that shit was intentional, like 6 months ago or whatever, I was just played it cool on the phone, because it takes me a long time to process stuff. So I can't just like freak out immediately. I just get uncomfortable, and then I have to really take it into my mind and just, okay, let's just review all the facts now. Let's freak out, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm like, oh shit. So we get off the phone, and it all fucking sinks in, and I'm like, fuck this. And I get instantly fucking like seeing red mad that I had twisted myself into a fucking pretzel mentally to try to assume that there's no reason why and I don't know why I even did that. I didn't need to do that. Oh, I needed to do that in order to be her friend. That's why I did that. Because if I showed up and she was like that, I would have to, and I was just like, you know what, she's like this, it doesn't even matter if it was unintentional, like this is crossing a line. I would just have to end the friendship. I didn't want to end the friendship. I wanted to make myself so uncomfortable in order to accommodate this person because I love them. Okay. So now I know in this moment that shit's intentional. There's no energy that like poured out of me, raging fucking river of no. Mm-hmm. I cannot, I've never felt that before, of just like I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to discuss, like I don't want to enlighten you. I don't want to resolve this. Like, no, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing. If I feel like I'm being really dramatic and over explaining, well, using the same fucking one word over and over. Sorry, I need to work on that. But do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Do you think that's crazy that shit made me so fucking like, no, not around my husband, bitch. Get the fuck out, bitch. So that day, I was just like, done, right? The no energy was rock fucking solid. I had no question in my mind. There was no thoughts. I don't want to talk to her about it. And I always want to talk to people about shit. If I ever have a conflict, if I talk to you about it, it's because I love you and want to make it good. Mm-hmm. But that no energy was like, there's nothing to discuss, like the end, right?
Yeah.
And that seems
like a fundamental part of her personality anyway, right?
What?
Like that wouldn't. You can't just like talk her
Discuss
out
shit.
of like being who she is.
No, and I don't want to talk anybody out of being who they are. I don't want to shame people for being them. Like that was the number one thing, because I fucking texted with another friend. I was like, do I tell her why I don't want to be her friend? Like, and the conclusion I kept coming to was I don't like anything I say to her to end the friendship is going to sound like I'm shaming her for being herself, and I cannot express how much I don't want to shame her. Like, I don't want to make her like, that's like, do you, dude? Like, I just have to go over here. Like, they're just, I don't know how to explain it any other way, because I haven't really thought of it. It's like, I don't want to talk about it because you don't have to change. There's nothing for you to be aware of. Just do your life, and I just got to be over here. Okay. So, let me take a sip.
Yes, doctor.
So when I was listening to the manifestation lady mention that no energy, and it's such a thing that I don't engage in no energy. I mean, I've failed that test so many fucking times where people are behaving a certain way or treating me a certain way, or I'm treating myself a certain way. Like, I'm not even using that no energy with myself. Like, or I'm not asserting myself, like when a job's like, hey, can you work are you available anytime? And I say yes. Once again, not asserting that no energy of like, this is where the boundary is, you know, and I'm gonna uphold this boundary because this is my value, and somebody has to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So she mentions the no boundary. I have this flashback to a time that I fucking tapped into no energy, and I was like, oh, that shit was really fucking helpful. Like, I should remember that that's an option. I don't know why it's always like, my default is just when shit goes down, not even bad shit, just, you know, like if a job's like, are you available any hour? That's not a bad question. That's just an open-ended fucking question. And in my mind, it's like, how can we accommodate them? That's my default. How do we accommodate them? There's no boundary in my mind. So, okay, so she mentions the no energy. I remember that I felt that before, so I can go back there and access that again. So that's in my mind. I'm not really thinking about it. It's just like, oh yeah, okay. So it's like, oh, you know, okay. So that's that. That's an isolated moment of stuff, right? I hear the audio about the intuition, and then I hear the audio about no energy boundaries, and then I don't know, like a week, a month later, some time later, I'm trying to hang out with this friend that I've been friends with for 20 fucking years. I love this person, right? I still love this person. I don't have strong no energy towards this person. I still fucking like this person. It's a great fucking person. It's impossible to fucking hang out with him. And I figured out why. I don't know why I didn't notice this. It's like, he'd be like, you want to hang out? And it's like, yes. And then he's like, okay, when are you available? And then I'll say like Tuesday or Thursday. And then he'll say, okay, let's do Tuesday. And then I'll be like, okay, what time? And then I'll be like, I don't know, how about noon? And I'll be like, okay. So, and I've been friends with this person for 20 years. I fucking know I'm not going to hear from this person at anywhere near noon. It's not in the cards, friend. Respect the limitations of this person. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I will wait all day, and then I will not hear from them. And, well, I will hear from them. It'll be like at midnight or some shit. It's like, oh, I fell asleep. 9 times out of 10, they're like, I fell asleep. It's like, how the fuck do you take all these random ass naps, you old man? Okay. So he'll do that. He'll like crap out on a day we're supposed to hang. This is actually how it fucking happened. I think we were supposed to hang on a Tuesday. He didn't text me. And then the next day, I'm hanging out with I'm not available on Wednesday. I'm with a friend, not at my house. I'm out to lunch with a friend, far away from home, right? And I get a text that's like, hey, I'm heading over. And it's like, dude, fuck this is, I am so, it just feels like this is so convenient for you because I'm not even home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm getting a little spun out. So I didn't even respond. I was like, I don't even have to say that I'm not home because I'm not fucking home and I didn't agree to being home. I agreed to yesterday. I didn't agree to today. And I would have agreed to today if I was available. I'm not trying to make your life difficult. It's just not logistically possible, right? It's impossible. So he says, I'm on my way over. I don't reply. Hours later, I'm on I'm getting off the train. I'm walking to my place. And he's like, I'm knocking at your door. Here's the funny thing. We moved. He has no idea where we live. He's knocking on someone else's fucking door. He's not knocking on my door. I'm like, oh yeah, you're knocking on my door? What address are you at? And he named the address. I was like, bitch, I moved. Like, you don't even know where I live. You're just living in a fucking fantasy. I told him, I was like, I'll give you my new address when you text me when you're heading over. And he never headed over, so I could never give him my address. Okay. So I don't hang out with him because he's somewhere else and I'm somewhere else. The next day, I think he did it again. I could be maybe giving him too much bad credit. I want to say he crapped out again, and then the next day, he was like, "Do you want to hang?" And I just said no. And it wasn't angry no. There was no like hate no. It wasn't even a strong no energy. It was just like, it was a pleasant no. It was like no, and that was the whole text. And I feel like this sounds like I'm being very dramatic for something that's not groundbreaking. Like most people probably practice some goddamn no energy. I don't practice no energy. This is fucking having a revelation over here, people. Give me a high five.
Good job.
Quit judging me for having low standards and growing. Okay. Okay. So I say no, and that night I have a dream that it's essentially you, Mark, my husband, your body, but it's my ex-boyfriend, the one right before you, is like his energy in the dream. So in this dream, you/ex are cheating on me. And I show up in the dream in a way I've never fucking... Historically, I've failed that test so many fucking times. In real life, a boyfriend cheats on me, and like I said, I just get really fucking spun out where I'm like, how can I be more perfect? What can I do to fix whatever it is about me that this person's having, how can I be more perfect to make them stay? Like, that's just the first and only feeling. I'm just compelled, I gotta fucking be more perfect, right? Make this person stay. That's my response always. And in dreams where I'm revisiting that scenario where this person is there, I'm just begging them. That's the whole dream of just please talk to me. Just talk to me. That's the whole fucking dream. I'm not even trying to beg you to be with me. Just hear me. Hear my fucking sadness. Just acknowledge that I'm hurt, right? By you, essentially. Okay, so this is how that plays out in dreams and in reality. So the day before I tell my friend no, that night I have a dream that I'm being cheated on, and I show up in the dream and I'm so emboldened. I'm not even fucking kidding. I'm like, goodbye, right? There was no please listen. There was no desperate energy. There was zero desperate energy. This person, who was me in the dream, full credit, was so emboldened. I was just like, get the fuck out, right? I was just peace. I was like, no excuses you can make. No, there's nothing to intellectualize, rationalize. There's no blame you can put on me. There's nothing that can be said. This is a no, no, get out. This is, you've crossed a line. I was like, who? I woke up, I was like, oh my God. Was that because I said no in real life? That my intuition, I don't know if it's my intuition, but it felt like a very intuitive dream. It felt like a direct communication from my insides to my outsides. I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I've never felt so emboldened. That was amazing, right? Mm-hmm. So I had this dream, And then I felt like my intuition has like now awakened, right, or some shit. Like the seed has been planted. 2 weeks later, I have this other dream that my older sister who had died a few years ago, she comes to me in the dream. Like I'm at work, I'm on the patio, I'm a waitress on the patio, and I go inside and my sister's there. And I feel really fucking weird seeing her. I'm like, dude, why are her kids not with her? And I just feel like this uncomfort that I can't really describe. And she came to my job to just essentially vent about mundane bullshit that doesn't matter. It mattered to her, and I could tell she was really upset. She just needed someone to empathize with her. Like, when she was alive, like, she had autism, and she just felt like people didn't respect her. Like, they didn't respect her boundaries. They didn't respect her opinion. She just felt like people wouldn't, like, one time she was on, sorry, tangent. She was on, like, what do you call that? Welfare? What do you call that? She was on some sort of, like, government assistance. And I think it was her caseworker. Like, she was, like, telling her caseworker something that she was trying to get this better paying job. And the caseworker essentially was, like, kind of shunned it away from her and was just like, well, if you get this better job, you're going to make more money and then you're going to lose your benefits or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she was so pissed. She was like it essentially, in her mind, it felt like they were not voting for her to succeed, that they didn't have any faith in her. And she just felt so disrespected and hurt. Like, why wouldn't they want me to get off their programs? Like, why wouldn't they? So in this dream, she's like embodying that sort of memory of mine, of her feeling so like disrespected by people. So, but she's like bitching about customer service shit. So I'm like, this is so mundane. Like, she wants to talk about some mundane shit, and I want to address that. I feel like something's wrong. Like, I don't know how to describe it. So I pull her aside. We're in this separate room, and she's just kind of venting, and I'm just like, my brain is split in two. I'm like, one side of me is like, okay, just meet her where she's at. Like, she doesn't sense anything's wrong. Like, she doesn't sense that she's died. She doesn't, sense any of this. So, but in the dream, like, there's this part of my brain that's like screaming, like, you have to say goodbye. Like, she doesn't sense anything is wrong. But you do. Mm-hmm. You have to say goodbye because you just sense this is the last time you're gonna see her. But I can't tell her because she doesn't know, and it would freak her out, and I don't want to scare her. So we talk, and I just listen, and my brain is like, you have to say goodbye now. And I can't. But I'm at work, so I have to end the conversation and get back to work. And I sense that she feels better from talking. So we walk back out on the patio. And it's like, this is like that final moment. It's like a fucking movie. Like, you have to say it now. I wrote down the dream. I don't remember if I actually said it. I don't remember if I because here's the thing. She has, it would make no sense to her. It only makes sense to me. I don't want to freak her out, but I know that I have to do it. I definitely know I gave her a big hug. I don't remember if I said it or if the hug represented it. And then she walks down the patio and just kind of disappears into the light of the day. And I woke up from the dream and I had this obvious sense, I need to say goodbye to my sister. She's been gone 4 years, 5 years? Do you remember?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
And I've never felt that. I mean, once again, it was a dream that felt like my insides are directly communicating with me. It's not, I don't have any question. This is something I need to do. So I wrote down the dream, and then all day I said out loud and in my head, goodbye to my sister. Not because I wanted to. I didn't want to. I've never wanted to say goodbye. But my dream told me I needed to. Like, I needed it on a level that I'm not even aware of. Like, I need it. So all day I said it out loud. I said it to myself. Like, I said it inside. And every time I went to say goodbye for probably the first half of the day, the amount of resistance I felt was so strong. And I had to look at that. It's like, why can't I just, like, it's so simple. Just say goodbye. Even if you don't mean it, just say it. I can't even say it. Why can't I say it? And I figured out that I couldn't say goodbye because it meant consent. That I would consent to her not being here. Mm-hmm. And I don't consent to that. And so then I had to kind of look at that, and it's like, well, that's not what goodbye would actually mean. That's how I'm misinterpreting. That's why I'm resisting it, because I'm misinterpreting that the goodbye means I consent to you not being here. Mm-hmm. The goodbye doesn't mean that. It's something else. It's essentially like, in part it's making peace with, like, something that has nothing to do with her. It's essentially like, you know, like childhood wounds. Like, I have like an inner abandonment issue. You know, it's not about saying goodbye to her. It's fear of my parents saying goodbye to me. It's hard to explain because it's not intellectual. It's like the wires are kind of crossed, and they're wired, you know, that's how they're wired. They're kind of wired all wonky. And so if I say goodbye to her, it brings up abandonment. That has nothing to do with her. So then I thought about it. Well, no, I didn't think about it. Okay, so that whole day I was practicing saying goodbye. And it did get better. It did get easier. It was like, especially once I realized, like, some of the feelings behind it, you know? Mm-hmm. So I practice it. Okay, that's that. What was it? It was just last week. I had this other dream. Last dream I'm going to talk about. I know nobody fucking wants to hear dreams, but here we go. Last dream that I had the other week, my first ex-boyfriend. Oh, if you listen to any of the, what is that fucking drug that everyone takes in the jungle?
What?
Ayahuasca. Yeah. I've been listening to all these ayahuasca talks, and they were saying that, like, you essentially go back to, like, different periods of your life, and you kind of, like, relive these things, which is kind of like dreams in a way. Like, you're just revisiting all these kind of, like, failed tests, or not even tests, but just, like, shitty situations. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. So I had this dream where I go back to my first boyfriend, mm-hmm. which was almost 20. It was like 19 years ago. It was almost 20 years ago, I'm pretty sure. And this boyfriend in the dream shows up as he was when we were young, and he's eccentric, like, he's just an eccentric guy. Mm-hmm. So he's in the dream, and we're in my childhood home, and we're in my childhood bedroom, and he lives in my childhood bedroom with me, and he's just eccentric, just kind of, I don't know, I just keep moving my body in these weird ways. Like, he's just, like, he's tall and lengthy, and he's just, like, moving around in the room in this way that's, like, I don't know, like he's a fucking cartoon, or he's, like, in a fucking parade. I don't know. He's just, you know, exaggerated emotion. Like, I don't know. Okay. In the dream, he's acting a fool like his normal self, and I just have this strong fucking no energy, which is, he's also a great example of, in real life, of somebody cheating on me, and then me just being like, how can I make you stay? Like, what, like, how can I, like, fix this for you? Right. Okay. So in this dream, he shows up, he's being his normal self, and I just have this strong feeling of no, right? Like, I don't, like, you and your eccentricness, you need to go, right? I just, this strong, like, get the fuck out kind of energy. Mm-hmm. So he's acting his way, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can switch rooms with my sister. So I go to my older sister's room, and I'm heading down the hall to her room, and then I have this thought, and it's like, wait a minute. Instead of, like, accommodating him while going over here and trying to also accommodate me, why don't I just kick him out of my room? And then I can like redo my room. Like I had this whole thought of like essentially like making my room like an IKEA room, of like this nice cozy room that just feels like so like, I don't know, just so, how do you describe a nice IKEA room? How do you describe it? What am I saying?
Fancy. I don't know.
Just like a reflection of like an ideal room instead of just like this room that just is here to house someone, right? So I go back to the room and I'm just like, I mean, there's no emotion. I genuinely just want him gone. And I'm just like, you need to go. And he has this moment where he's like, but I love you, right? And I just sense like, you're saying this because you just want to be where it's the most convenient for you. And if you just say something nice, I will just roll over like a doormat and be like, well, I just need someone to love me, so I guess this will do, and then it will be convenient for you. And I just was like, I was unmoved. I was emboldened. There was just no way around it. And I just was like, no, you gotta go. And it was like a light switch flipped. You could see the look in his eyes of like, oh shit, there's gonna be this will be extremely inconvenient. I'm not gonna sway her anymore. I'm gonna, me and the parade are going outside. He just like walked outside like as though he was like leading the fucking brigade or something. I don't know. He trucked. Well, actually, before he left, he gave me this big, heartfelt hug, and my mom walks by in my dream. And I roll my eyes and I say, he's about to go, right? Like, I'm not, like, I just have to confirm to everyone, like, I don't give a fuck about this sentimental hug. I care about my sanity. Get the fuck out. Okay. So that was just a couple days ago. And so I was thinking about all these dreams, right? About being cheated on and being like, peace, right? About my sister being like, you have to say, or about my sister, of that I have to say goodbye. I have to learn to say goodbye. I have to practice saying goodbye. And then repeating that again with, this third, loved one or whatever, where I'm like, you need to go, right? And then it's like, oh, all these have, this is all, like, I was thinking of it, I was calling it no energy. It's actually goodbye energy. That would actually be another way to say that. And I've never said goodbye. I don't like saying goodbye. I'm so bad at saying goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye because, like I said, the wires are crossed really weird from childhood, as most people's probably are when they're not intellectualizing their bullshit. Because you intellectually know the right answer, so you can make it sound like you know the right answer. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I don't need anyone's approval. Yeah, you can say that.
Is that why you can't wrap it up when we're at someone's house and then we stay until 3 a.m?
Dude, 100%. I can't get off the phone with anyone. Like, even the smallest fucking goodbye. The only time I can say goodbye, I mean, there are definitely some moments, like if we're all hanging out and it's very clear, like it's clear that we're all saying goodbye, I can say goodbye because it's mutual and I consent. But if it's not clear, I won't take the goodbye. I just won't do it. And whether it's serious, like my sister dying, or it's not serious, like anything, I just cannot say it. And I realize like, oh, I actually just need to start practicing. And this is what I'm saying about like the wires are crossed weird. Intellectually, I know you can say goodbye. Like, come on, bitch, open your mouth, say it, right? The way the wires are in my mind is like, even if, let's say somebody's doing me wrong and it's in service to me, I would only win the lotto by saying goodbye. It still feels like essentially like I'm all the emotions of being a child being abandoned by a parent. Like that's all I can that's under the surface. It took a little bit for me to realize that's what I feel. Like that feeling comes up, that sensation of like, just like you disappear in time and space, you're a child again. This is not your friend or your job or your interviewer asking you a question. This is like you're a child, they're a parent. They didn't ask you what hours you want. They said, like, I'm about to abandon you. Do you consent? And it's like, I don't consent. I'm not saying goodbye, right? It's just this weird wiring in the brain that I didn't realize until fucking last week. Okay. So, where's all this going? So I have to practice saying goodbye and separate out, even if it's just intellectual, even if that feeling is still like the wires are still crossed. We're not gonna, act like it's not or whatever. It's just being able to separate, like, oh, I feel this emotion and I'm looking at this intellectually or rationally, like, versus just trying to say, no, I only see it rational, and trying to, like, I don't know, there's some sort of weird, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, it sounds like you are working on rationalizing it.
Well, it's hard. It's complicated. I feel like it. Okay, moving along. So I have to. Oh, one of the interesting things when I realized, like, oh, I need to practice saying goodbye, like, in general, like, even in little things, like, just in life, just that energy, just that statement, just that sort of boundary. I realized that by practicing that, it makes me, like, less, or so far, can't speak for the future, it makes me, like, feel less, no, not less. Like, it feels like it's connected to my parents being old. It's like, oh, if I practice goodbye, like, it's not as scary as them being, they're in their 70s and they're in fucking shitty health. And it's like, oh, I need to practice saying goodbye now. Like, because that is connected. It's all fucking connected. Like, I need to do that. So that's my hippie ass tea leaves, reading the fucking meaning and all that shit. So that's the backstory. And then, what was it? Friday, I go to film a video because I film recipe videos on Friday. And it's been super fucking challenging because I got a job waiting table. Like, the first place that I interviewed with, I think it was the first place, they hired me. And in that interview, I failed some tests. I definitely failed some. You didn't say no. I failed some tests because I said, I said, like, how much did the servers make per shift? And she gave a range.
They kind of blank-faced you, right?
No. Well, kind of.
They were being vague about it.
She was being vague. She named some numbers, but they were so all over the place. I think she was like, it could be, there's just such a, it's so different every day. And I was just like, wait a minute, what? So, but I was like, give me an average. And then she's like, it's just hard to say, like, someone made $200 the other day. Someone tipped them $100. And I'm like, come on, 1 in a million. Don't use that as an example. Like, I need some, like, hard numbers here. Like, I've worked in the food industry 20 years. I got a job at 14 in the food industry. It's been over 20 years. Over 20 years. It's like, you don't have to guess. We can assume what a server makes on average. Okay? Like, this is not fucking, okay.
So she's being vague.
So she's like, well, you could make, like, $50 or, like, $200. And I'm just like, my brain is yelling, no. We do not want any of this nonsense. I need a solid answer. So I failed that test because my brain was like, dude, don't fall for this vague shit. Like, you need someone who knows what they're saying, so that way, okay. So I failed that test, and I'm like, no problem, sounds great, fantastic. And then she's like, when are you available? I failed that test. Failed it. When am I available? Whenever your heart desires. Winding down at night? Fuck that. This great sleep schedule that I've struggled my entire life to get in order? Fuck that. We don't need this great sleep schedule. We don't need winding down at night. We don't need this this night routine that's like the foundation of my self-care. The days I don't do the night routine, I have not done self-care. I mean, it's like, go to the gym, can't go to the gym, you gotta sleep in because your fucking sleep's all jacked up. Okay. So I failed that test also. So I take the job. I had a shift where I made like $38. I was like, that strong no energy was like, hell no. Because an average shift should be like $100. If you wait tables and you don't make $100 a shift or pretty fucking close to that, or at least average that, like, you're at a crappy job. I hate to say it. I mean, take what you got. Or if you're satisfied with your crappy job, rock out with your cock out. I don't care. I'm just saying, for me, waiting tables, you need to make $100 a shift in order for it to make sense. I've worked enough jobs. It's completely reasonable. Okay. So
you're there less than a week? Or about a week?
So I trained for a week, and I'm just sensing like, oh, I think their tips are not very good here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. So, and again, that's not her fault. I take 100% responsibility. If I don't ask the right questions or I don't hear the right answers, then it's on me. Right? Okay. So I train a week. I wait tables for a week. I don't make shit. I mean, I made good money one day. I made bad money on like 3 other shifts. I was like, this is not. Oh, and I got so behind in my homework with the blog coach. So I texted her. I was like, dude, I'm embarrassed. I apologize. This is where I made the mistake. This is not a good fit. I feel very bad for wasting your time. Like, and I love the employees. Like this, I love this. This job is good except for here and here, and I have to fix that. So I apologize. I'm giving you your shirt and your apron back. I will wash that shit. Like, thank you for everything. I have to go. So that was, again, practicing goodbye energy, practicing no energy, asserting myself. Okay. So I started going on interviews. I think I went on 3 interviews. This was last week. And I made a commitment to myself that I'm stating my needs in every job interview. When can you work? This is the hours. This is all I'm available. I'm never available any other time except here, right? Strong fucking, like, stating my needs. It was funny. I was thinking, like, why won't I just say what I need? It's like, oh, when you're a child and you don't get your needs met, it's not safe to ask for, it's like, why would the world give you what you need, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, let's assert our needs. Let's just assume that it's safe to ask for what you need. So I've gone on interviews. I've asked for what I needed. I got an offer for a job that was not a good fit. And she was so fucking awesome in the interview, the lady. Where's all this going? So during this week that I just went on 3 interviews, I got so behind trying to do the blog, trying to do filming. Like, I had this recipe that it was like a 2-ingredient recipe for like this pizza crust that's grain-free, gluten-free. It's like fucking perfect. I was so excited. So I filmed all this stuff. None of it looked visually good. Like, the recipes turned out great. I would actually just need to refilm, rephotograph, and there were pictures I wasn't taking because I was trying to skim because I was running out of time. And it was like, I was freaking out. I was like, I lose so much money doing this. Not just money, but I don't have time to get a job, so I just do this full time. It makes no sense. It's all backwards. So I've been doing this for 4 years, and it's been a financial loss, and that's just me just being like, we'll just go with it, right? And then I'm trying to like think of how to say all this. There's like 5 different things in my head. So, okay, so here's what I think. I can't cut any more corners. I was cutting, like last week I was cutting corners. I wasn't taking all the pictures I needed to take because I was trying to get the filming done
Yeah.
And by not taking all the pictures I needed, I was shortchanging the blog post. Now, if I want to continue to shortchange, I will get the results I've had for the last 4 years, which is essentially I have an expensive hobby that takes all my time. And instead of having time for a job, I'm just doing this thing that takes money. It doesn't make sense. I'm doing things all backwards. There's a way to obviously make money doing this, but you have to do it the right way. And I was half-assing it last week because I was so fucking frazzled. And this is just from going to 3 interviews. It wasn't even I had a full-time job. It made no sense. I was like, fuck, I really can't do both. I can't give looking for a job 100%. I can't put the right mental energy into making sure I get the right job. Like I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I'll just take a crappy job so I can stop thinking about it and so I can focus on the, like, and then I'm also like half-assing the blog because I'm, running around doing interviews. So both are hurting. Mm-hmm. The blog is hurting, and I can't afford, if I'm going to turn the blog around, I have to give it, I have to do it right. Because if I half-ass it, I'll just keep getting what I've gotten, and that's not working at all. Let me take a sip. I'm about to wrap this up. I know you gotta go. Okay, so I was like freaking out. I was like, fuck, I actually have to refilm this whole video, right? The $100 I spent for all the ingredients, I gotta rebuy them. Like, I don't have any money. I'm so... this is the trick. This is the tricky part. We're moving. This is where it all comes down. Because why did I hire a food blog coach? Why did I just spend thousands of dollars to turn my blog around and to make this a priority and to do things right, to make this an income, blah, blah, blah? Because I was under the impression that I had about a year or so of like a runway. I had like a year-long runway to see if I could turn the blog around, start driving traffic, focus on the blog. Like, again, I wasn't going to focus on YouTube. I was still going to make the videos, but I wasn't really going to focus on YouTube. I was going to focus on the blog. Mm-hmm. So I had a year was the timeline to kind of figure out my shit. Like, really figure it out. Not the figure out I've been doing the last 4 years, but like with a professional. Like, really figure it out. Be strategic. And then about a week after I hired the food blog coach, you were like, oh, we shouldn't renew this lease. We need to move. And the place we're moving to is probably like 40 to 70% more than what we pay now. Mm-hmm. There's we literally cannot cover our bills, especially with the food blog, if we move. Mm-hmm. And we're planning on moving. Like, as far as I know, in a few days, we should be getting a key. I mean, it's not over till it's over, but I'm pretty fucking sure we're moving. And we can't afford there unless I get a job. And I can't do both. Like, I tried so fucking hard during 3 weeks of like, oh, I will fucking juggle both. Like, I will do whatever I have to fucking do to figure this blog situation out. I've put in so much heart, so much hope, so much time, so much money. Like, I've put in so much. I need to turn this around. I've been so pumped about turning around. I was telling everyone and their mom I was turning shit around. Like, I usually never, I don't talk to people about YouTube or my blog or nothing. And then I was so excited. I had so much hope. I was like telling my parents what I'm going to do. My friend in town, I was like, dude, I'm turning shit around. I was just so fucking pumped. I was talking about on the fucking YouTube channel. I was just so excited for turning it around. But we're moving. And I didn't, that wasn't part of the original plan. But now it is. My runway has gone short. I don't have a year to figure it out. I don't have any time to figure out because I have to get a job. And I can't do both. I can't do a good job at both. And I actually have to do a good job at both, or I have to do a good job at one. Like, I can't half-ass either one. Mm-hmm. One of them has to go. So I had to rebuy ingredients, refilm shit. And it was like, fuck, I'm already behind. I can't it's so depressing. It's so pathetic. It's not pathetic. It's just, it's a pity party. Okay. So I was like, dude, I don't think I can do both. And you were like, okay. Or no, I think you didn't want to say I should quit. I think you wanted me to say it. Like, I kept pouting about it, like, oh, I can't do both. I can't do both. And I kept saying, should I quit? Should I quit? Should I quit the blog? Do I just have to quit the blog? And you wouldn't say it. You were like, I'm not saying that shit. Not putting it on you, girl. You got to say goodbye yourself. So I was like, I think I have to quit. And then my brain kind of turned off. It's weird because I think about it. I've been working on this for so long and I put so much energy. My whole brain is dedicated to this. Like, I've got like every employee on staff in my mind is always working. Like, there's a photographer working, there's a recipe developer working, there's like there's all these people are working. 100% of my brain is man-powered towards this. And it was like, when I said in my head, I was like, I have to quit. They just all clocked out and went home. And it was so quiet in my brain. I was like, fuck, dude, I have to quit. This shit is taking over my brain. I need some fucking brain power back. And now I can figure out some more shit in life. Like, figure out what's next and new. And who knows? You know, I can imagine there's great things ahead. Like, I want to write shit like that. I have stuff I've started writing. I've like, I don't know, 8,000 words in a document somewhere. I have another document that has like 16 pages. It's like I've started, but I always quit. It's like, fuck, I need to get back to work. And then, you know, it's like, fuck, I'm poor. I have to get back to eBay. So then I'll like quit writing and I'll get back to work. And then, you know, working and doing the blog is a lot. So, but I liquidated eBay. That's why a lot of this is such kind of a big ordeal. Because eBay was floating the blog. But then our eBay sales went down. It was just a shitty time. So I was like, fuck eBay. Fuck doing all this hard work for shit that doesn't pay off. I wasn't thinking the blog. I was just like, fuck eBay, right? And now I'm like, wait a minute. Let's get a job. Let's make some money. Let's have our brain back. Let's, you know, use this energy that we're freeing up in our mind for, I don't know, writing, or maybe I can make some music. I mean, who knows? I mean, not necessarily for social media, for the world, but just to, you know, express, just to get these thoughts and feelings like out, you know? So I figured the ultimate practice of saying goodbye would be to say goodbye to 150,000 subscribers. Wouldn't that be the ultimate goodbye? Practicing really stepping up, taking some ownership.
You made it a lot farther than I ever would have.
Yes, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that I've gone this far.
But at the same time, it's not like, people might look at that and they're like, oh wow, you must have a Ferrari and you're making all this money. But yeah,
because there are people in my position that have the same stats as me, but they're doing things different, so they are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I wasn't doing things properly, so I was losing money.
Well, even if you do them properly, that doesn't guarantee you make a bunch of money. You know, like it just
no,
gives
not
you
on
better.
Not on YouTube,
better
but
stature.
But there's other things. Like if you have the blog, then you have all that traffic, and then you're making money from AdSense from the blog, not necessarily AdSense from YouTube. Or not much, at least. I was thinking, and I just kind of want to just say this real quick because I was thinking, and then we gotta go. I know you gotta go. Is that so? eBay was floating YouTube for so long.
Yeah.
The whole time. I didn't make much on eBay, but I put it all into the blog, and that was fine. And then eBay wasn't making much money. I have some theories with all the other apps and all these other sellers. It's like dude, we used to find so much fucking 90s streetwear. I don't find any these days, like at thrift stores. We used to sell, like, you know, if I put up 20 items, if I put up 40 items, if I put up 100 items, it would, like, the amount I would put up is the amount I would sell, even if it's not the exact items. You know what I mean? It's like 600 items in my store, 800 items in my store. If I put up 20, I'm going to sell 20, right? And now it's like, you know, I just spend all this money on inventory, and then the sales are so low. It's like, you know what? How about I stop doing things that aren't serving me, and getting a job feels right. Like having an income feels right. Like paying for where we're moving I mean, the reason why the reason why we're moving is not just so my parents can live with us. That is definitely a part. I do not want to live with them in our little space here.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest reason to move is so that you can have space to work on music. Like you can have you can build like a little studio room and have a place to put in drums. And I just thought of now that eBay's not floating the blog, you're floating the blog. You go to work every day and you're paying for a blog. Instead of paying for music, you're paying for me to do a hobby that should be paying itself. It's so dumb. So it all makes sense. Quitting makes a lot of fucking sense. And it's weird that it's taken me this long. It would have been nice to have that runway to turn it around, so it wouldn't have been all for, I don't want to say all for nothing, that's fucking wrong, but you know what I mean, to make it go from I'm serving the blog to it being a win-win.
Yeah.
But we've run out of time. I'm getting a job. I'm gonna get a good job. I have big visions on getting a good job, and that's that. I'm definitely quitting all social media. I don't know if I'm gonna delete Instagram and Facebook. I'm gonna leave the videos up. I don't know. People are into it. People are like, oh, this is helpful, and I put a lot of effort into it. So I think I'm gonna leave those up. I don't know if I'm leaving the other social media up or not because I'm not gonna be responding. Because why would I get on social media if I don't, if I'm not sharing, I don't know. So not really sure. This is not going anywhere. Any final words? This is our last video, shouting out to the world.
It's been I want to say it's been a good run, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Really?
Has it been a good run?
Oh, are you speaking on my behalf?
Yeah.
Or are you speaking on your behalf? Has it been a good run for you?
Kinda.
Well, how about this? Tell me how it's been for you in the 4 years of working on social media bullshit. Honest opinion. Genuine feedback. Be yourself.
I mean, I've been discouraged. It's easier for me to get discouraged by not getting things moving,
But are you talking about your own stuff? You're not talking about my stuff? I feel like you're
anything if I was in your position,
you'd have been more discouraged.
I would not have kept doing it.
Yeah, for 2.5 years I made videos that nobody watched.
Yeah.
And only when I changed what I was doing, we got essentially 100,000 subscribers in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that year we got 9 million views.
Yeah.
And $10,000 pre-taxes.
Yeah.
Which brings it down to $6,000. How much did it cost me to buy all those ingredients? At least $6,000. That sounds insane. I was filming 2 videos a week. And so every recipe has to be different. I can't just make the same fucking recipe. So you're buying all these random ingredients. I definitely spent all that money in food expenses, which is, fine. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. That's legitimately what I wanted to do. No complaints. It's not rational, but there's no complaints.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent all that time. So I wasn't working. I was just floating eBay to make the lowest amount so we could just pay our bills, so I could just get back to work to do something that cost money.
Yeah.
So.
Which it's not.
I could have done it differently. There are successful people.
I mean, I do things that cost money, but I also music. I don't anticipate making money with music. I subsidize my hobby. You know what I mean?
Well, but yours is different. Yours doesn't have a schedule and
yeah.
You have to get it up by this time and you have to fit this format.
Yours
and
you really need to work.
It's
almost full time, pretty much.
No,
right?
Definitely. And that's even when I was doing it half-assed. Oh, I wish 4 years ago I would have started on the right foot. This conversation would be different. But I don't know. I feel good about quitting, and I feel good about having put in the work. I don't feel bad about any of it. I was mega frowning when I first quit. In my head on Sunday, I was like, fuck, I have to refilm all this shit. I don't have any time. I have to spend more money I don't have. We need to be saving to move, and I'm spending... So, boohoo. So I was mega frowning. And I was so sad, but it's been a couple days. I slept on it. Dude, I feel excited about about getting a job. I feel excited about like getting my needs taken care of, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm excited that I put in the work. I don't know. I feel good about it all. I feel liberated. Let's put it that way. Any other? I mean, this is it. No more videos after this. I'm focused. Like, I get tunnel vision. Whatever I'm doing next, I'm 100% in.
That's it.
All right. In the spirit of practicing goodbye and stating my needs. Goodbye. Peace.